Welcome to the second lecture. In the last lecture, we talked about the dimension and its application, and in this part, we will try to study or understand the topic that is errors. So let's see what is the error. So error is a difference in the true value and the measured value of a physical quantity and termed as the error. So if you want to measure a length of 1 meter and you are using any scale, okay, any kind of measuring scale, then you are not getting the exact value. But if you notice, then you will be getting approx 9.99 or 1.01 or something like value. So it is very reality fact that to measure the exact value in the real life is not possible, is not always possible, or you can say we can only measure the approximate value of our true value. Okay, so true value is the target value or the goal that we need to achieve, that is here the 1 meter. Okay, and what is achieved by you, that is what is measured by you in the actual condition, is known as the measured value or approximate value. So if you see that there is some kind of difference, okay, some nature of difference. Again here also, if you are measuring 1.01, there is a difference in both the quantities. Okay, so these differences are termed as the error in our measurement. Okay, now there are three kinds of errors that are basically classified, that are the natures of the error. You can call it natures of the error. So one is systematic error and the other is random error. Okay, so if we talk about first the systematic error, that the error whose cause or whose reason is known to us, okay, and that occur in a particular way or a pattern, repeatability, okay, is known as the systematic error. Okay, so the basic idea about systematic is that you know that why you are committing a mistake or why the error is coming. Okay, so we can actually correct them because the reason are known to us. But in random error, if you see the name, the random means that something that is not you can mean not that is definite. Okay, and that can occur by a chance. So even if you are keep caring about all the other factors, okay, to be very attentive while measuring, but still the error occurred, so that is known as random error. And the random error, to reduce the random errors is very there is a very less possibility. So, if you talk about some causes of systematic error, then there are some instrumental. Okay, the causes are instrumental. That is, if there is any defect in the instrument, okay, then there can be a you can say a wrong procedure in measurement. Wrong procedure, like you're not taking a scale with reference. Okay, you are not taking a proper reference while measuring, so that is a wrong procedure. Or you are using the measurement condition that is in the external, like because of external factor like temperature variation, pressure variation, that comes under the wrong procedure. Okay, there comes the personal error. So in personal error occurs because of the observer. Okay, so the first is either the observer is you can say he is not experienced, means he have not done any experiment before this, so he may not be able to read the correct value. And second, the observer is experienced but he have some problem in his eyes. Okay, he have some defect in the eyes, then also he is not able to take the proper reading, so these comes under the personal error. Okay, so these are the basics, you can say, the reasons behind the systematic. Now let's talk about the random errors. So if random errors are because of unpredictable variation that I told you, like if the temperature and pressure are changing continuously and you are unaware of it, okay, because you cannot control the atmospheric condition. Okay, so try to we cannot actually control them, and that's why the errors are occurring. That's also because of personal error also. Okay, here also personal error also plays a role. Why? Because let's suppose the person is measuring something and he don't know that he is unexperienced. He is thinking of himself that he is very confident. okay, but he's doing the wrong methodology, or you can say the wrong procedure. So in that case also, he may think that he is doing right, but he's again making a random error. Okay, so these are the basics about both kind of errors. Now we'll see the types of error based on the calculation classification. So the first comes, so the first come the classification on the calculation. Okay, that is based on the calculation. So first is your absolute error. Absolute error. So absolute means the exact. Okay, so what it is a magnitude of a difference between the true value and the individual measured value of a quantity. Okay, so let's see what it is. Let's suppose you are measuring a particular unit. Okay, like you are measuring a length, so you have taken different values. Okay, you have done the experiment several times. Okay, and you have evaluated the measured value as a1, a2, a3, and up to the n times. Okay, that means you have measured a length for different times. Okay, and you have got the nth values. Now what we have to do, we have to calculate the arithmetic mean. Arithmetic mean of all the readings that you have measured, that is a1 plus a2 plus a3 and so on an, and divide it with the total number of turns, and we have here n. So we are calculating actually the am, that is the a mean. Okay, so you are actually calculating a mean value to get the basic idea that what is the approx result you are getting at all the time, at a mean of all. Okay, so when you are able to calculate the a mean, okay, so this is because of your measurement, this is because of your measurement. Okay, so now to calculate the error, that what are the possible error you have calculated, the error, what we will do, we will represent it as delta a1, that is the error in the measurement of first reading with respect to mean reading. So what it is am minus a1. Again for a2, that is delta a2. So delta represent the difference. Okay, so if you don't know about delta, then this delta represent the difference. It is a symbol that is used for difference. Okay, so again you can write for a mean minus a2. Okay, so this result can also come positive or either come negative. There is no problem in that. But when you will evaluate the absolute error for the different terms, then if you are taking am as first, then for every term take it as a first. Okay, means do not change the pattern. But if you are changing the pattern, that is a1 minus am, then take all the in the same manner. Okay, then put the am on the second level. So that is about the absolute error. So absolute error is a different for every measured quantity, every measured individual quantity. Okay, so I hope you understand this topic. Now let's talk about the mean absolute error. Mean absolute error. So in mean absolute error, what we do here, if you see that we have a different value for each error. Okay, so up to here you will evaluate in case of absolute error. Okay, but what is the value of mean, that you are getting different values of error for each measurement. Okay, we are getting different for each. Okay, so there is a little problem to represent the error. Okay, like if you want to say that what is the limit of your error, then you cannot explain it because you have so many different values. So to simplify the problem, that how to define your error, we calculate the mean absolute error. And in this method, what we actually do, we can calculate the a mean, and that is written as delta a1 plus delta a2 plus delta a3 and so on up to the n times. Okay, and divide by the again the total number of terms, that is n. So you will get a final, that is your mean absolute error. So that is the mean absolute error you have calculated. Okay, now when you will get your result, so I want to tell you that how to write in a particular format. Okay, so how to write, So this is the format of writing your measurement along with the error. Okay, so if you are measuring a quantity that was A, so you can write it as a AM, that is a mean value that we have already calculated here, that is the arithmetic mean value. Then you will write plus minus and then the delta A mean. Okay, why this plus minus? Because as I told you here that the error can occur in either positive or negative. Okay, so that's why we can say either you can measure, either you are measuring more than the mean value or you can say less than the mean value. So that is the limit. So this plus minus shows the limit of your measurement. Okay, like we can say what, like you want to measure the 1 meter. Okay, so 1 meter is your A mean, that what you want to achieve. Okay, and if you are trying, if you are committing a mistake or if you are committing an error, then you can write plus minus 0 point, you can say 5. So this 0.5 is your mean error, 1 is your A mean value. Okay, so what does it mean? That you can either measure in a two way. One is either 1.5, you are either measuring 0.5 more, or you can measure 0.95. Okay, so that is the meaning of writing this format in the error form. So now we will talk about the relative or the fractional error. Okay, so before this we calculated the delta A mean, that is the mean of the error, and A mean, that is the mean of all the measured values. Okay, so sometimes what we do, we can represent the error in the form of fractional form, or you can say a relative, or as a relative value. So what does it mean? It means we are representing the fractional error for A as A mean, delta A mean upon A mean. So this is known as the relative or the fractional error. So it is representing that what can be the error with respect to the mean value in terms of fractional value. Okay, sometimes the relative or fractional error can also be represented as a percentage error, and in fact that is more common to write it in a percentage error. So how we will write is in percentage error? So we will simply multiply it with the 100, that is this, and you will get something that is the value of your percentage error. So for example, if you are calculating a relative mean value, okay, that is a fractional reason, and you are getting a value that is 0.21. Okay, but every time it is not convenient to use the 0.21 value for the error. So that's why sometimes, or you can say very often, we try to write it with a in the form of percentage error, and it can be written as 21% of error. So you can check it out that which of the two, okay, in the both comparison, this value is more convenient to write. Okay, so now we will see the combination of errors. So let's see what is combination. So combination of error, that if you are measuring two or more length, okay, or two or more units of a given physical quantity, then that time in different numericals you have to add up them, subtract them, or product them, or either you can divide them. So error also go through the same process of addition and subtraction, but the procedure is little different than the exact values. So let's see the first one, that is addition, or you can also say subtraction, because the rule is same for both. So if you are trying to measure a quantity that is x, and we have two other terms, that is x1, that is the first measured value, and x2 is the second measured value. So we can calculate the difference as x equal to x1 minus x2. Similarly, if you want to write it in the addition form, then you can write x1 plus x2. Okay, so if you want to write in the exact form, that is okay, but if there is some error that is also occurring in x1 and also occurring in x2, then the relation that is x you are getting as a summation or addition will also have some kind of error. So we want to write a overall error for the term that is x, either in case of subtraction or either in case of addition. Okay, so in that case, I am just writing a format that is x. What we can write as x in form of error format, that is x plus minus delta x is equal to x1 plus minus delta x1, and then plus we are writing for addition x2 plus minus delta x2. Okay, so if you see these two quantities, then this x1 plus x2 is equal to already x, so that's why these can be eliminated and we are only left with the errors. So what we can write the errors as the error in x is equal to plus minus is taken as common because we know the common is for both sides, and then delta x1 plus delta x2. So this is the maximum error. Okay, we can say this is the maximum error that can occur in a measurement of, or you can say in the calculation of x because of x1 and x2. Okay, so just you have to put the values of delta x1 and delta x2 that is given to you, and you can calculate the value of delta x. The same formula also lies for the subtraction. Okay, so it is valid for both, that is one for addition and the other for the subtraction. Okay, so that is so easy to write. Now we'll see the error in the combination of the product and the quotient, or you can say division. So error in product and quotient. So let's suppose we have a two term that is x1 and x2, and we want to calculate a other term that is x1 multiply with x2, or x equal to x1 upon x2. But before this, I want to tell you the important fact that if you are trying to calculate the x, okay, then always remember the two quantities that are added or subtracted, they should be of the same nature. Like x1, if you are measuring x as a length, then x1 should be length and x2 should be length. Okay, so for error also we can say we have a same dimension and both should be used for the same nature, of the same nature, that is delta x1 the error in the length of 1, and it should also be the error in the length only. You cannot take the error as a time, as an addition or a subtraction. Okay, but in case of product or quotient, we know that we can represent the quantity with a product of any two different quantity. Like we can say speed can be written as distance upon time, and you can also say distance as the multiplication or product of velocity or speed into time. Okay, so in this case the different error can persist, but in the earlier case only the same nature of quantity to be taken, either in case of exact value or in the case of error evaluation. So this you have to keep in mind. Okay, so if you want to write the error for these type of combination, that is either product or the quotient, then let me simply write the formula. Then this is given as delta x upon x equal to plus minus delta x1 upon x2 plus delta x2, okay, that is x1, it is written by mistake, that is delta x1 upon x1 and delta x2 upon x2, and enclose it in bracket. Okay, so this term you are getting for both, either for product or the quotient. Okay, so this formula is valid for both the cases, and when you are able to calculate it, okay, you will put the fraction value for x1 and for x2 that will be given in your question. Okay, and we can easily calculate the x, delta x. How? So when you will calculate this value, you can simply multiply it on the other side and you will get the error value of the for the quantity x. So we can write in this way, and here the plus minus. Okay, so after evaluation we can write x plus delta, okay, plus minus delta x, that is the value of this delta x. Okay, so that is simple to write. Now let us write a general formula, okay, or you can say a general expression for a quantity that are raised with the powers. Okay, so we are taking just the example because here it's just written very simple. We can take example of, let's suppose we have x that is having a x1 upon x2 with the power n, and the n. Okay, so we can represent it as a x1 to the power n and x2 to the power minus n. Okay, now you want to write the error for this combination in the terms of x. So how we will write? So we will write at first write the fractional error, that is delta x upon x equal to, then for we will write for x1. So what we'll write? We will write delta x1 upon x. Now what you have to do, you have to simply bring the power just before this fraction. So we have a x1 with the power n, so just put for x1 we will write the power as multiplication with the n. Now write the m, okay, that is using the plus sign, and here we will write x2 delta x2 upon, here is 1 and here is x2, and here is the power is minus m. But one thing remember, in case of error the minus sign has no significance, that means it will remain there with a positive sign. So what we will put here, that is simply m. So this is a way to write a overall error expression for the quantity, that is x. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and thank you so much.